Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome out here on what I hope is going to be another beautiful day in Palm Coast. No snow on the ground. You know, if the American eagle is a symbol of the United States, then perhaps the Florida panther might well be a symbol of what we in Palm Coast hold so dear. The grace and elegance of the creature, its strength and beauty. The Florida panther exemplifies the enormous value that our community places on nature, wildlife, and our environmental heritage.
Palm Coast is going to become the destination for art. It's getting there. This sculpture is not our first sculpture, it's our fifth sculpture. The very first one in the entire county was Paul Balaker. There's always a story behind art, and there's a story behind this panther.
Really quickly, I just want to thank everybody, especially the Gargiulo Art Foundation, for picking my piece and having the tenacity to get it done and make it happen. And Palm Coast has been great, the donation of the rock. I mean, we've had, this has really been a real win-win situation all around, and I just want to thank everybody.
Tell us a little bit about what your vision was in creating this particular sculpture.
Well, you know, as with every sculpture, there's a lot of study that goes into the pieces, you know, beforehand. And I love the environment, and the Florida panther is pretty important to me. It's kind of it's very significant as a representation of the environment of Florida. And I just studied it hard and, you know, went for it. I was actually commissioned by an individual, and he had a large house, and he built a big nook at the end of his driveway, in which he told me, he says, I want a panther, and I want to make sure that that everybody comes in my driveway is actually being, they know they're being looked at. And so that's the whole idea with his stare and everything else. So
you guys touched upon some really key things that, you know, what my purpose is kind of convey some of those to the public, you know, the behind the scenes kind of information that, you know, seldom people really get directly from the artist. And
right.
Some of that's technical.
Oh, it's super technical. It's a big, long, hard process. There's nothing easy about bronze. First of all, you create an image, and it doesn't matter what material you use. You can use wood, bronze, stone. It doesn't matter. The important thing is you get an image. From that image, the original is what they call it. You create a mold around it. A mold that can be taken apart, a two-part mold. You use a rubber shell over top of that image, and then you use a plaster or some other material that'll keep that rubber rigid. At that point, take the mold apart, take that image that we've created, put it aside, put the mold back together. And within that mold, you start pouring wax in and out, creating a thickness that you want. So what you have in the end is you pull that mold apart and you have a wax image. With that wax image, you go ahead and start building another mold around it. And with that one, you end up, it's called a waste mold, and you build it around the wax, put that in an oven, melt the wax out, and you've got that cavity in there, which you replace it with molten bronze. And then you just, basically, you break that shell off and you've got the bronze underneath.
And you have it.
That's pretty simplified, but that's kind of how it goes.
Well, for a panther, we normally consider to be intimidating. This one is a very welcoming one for Palm Coast.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, Florida panthers don't attack people, so it's not a big deal. They're a great animal, and they need to be protected.